Blurb. My fiancé, Thừa Trạch, went to Europe to expand the company's market. When he returned, he brought along a new assistant named Diem. He said she was exceptionally capable. A top graduate from a prestigious school. A rare talent. But the first time this so-called talent met me, her eyes reddened with grievance as she said softly, Tan, I will only marry the man I love. I want to be Thừa Trac's one and only wife. I refuse to become a sacrifice in some business marriage. I glanced at the $3 million pink diamond ring on her finger. The one Thừa Trec had just won at auction for her. He looked troubled, his brows slightly furrowed. A business marriage? But Thừa Trec Mon and I are already in alliance. Our engagement party is scheduled for next month. We're announcing it to the entire world. So, what exactly do you suggest we do? Diem's face visibly paled. Thừa Trec immediately pulled her behind him, shielding her as he frowned at me. Diem is simple-minded. Don't scare her. As for our engagement, maybe you could be understanding for now? After the company goes public and everything stabilizes, I'll give you an explanation. I laughed. My father is the company's largest investor. And I hold the core technology patents that are keeping this company alive. No matter who becomes the CEO, I will be the rightful wife of that CEO. Welcome to the world of dark romance tales. Dare to follow us into the night, where desire and danger entwine. The engagement party was held right on schedule. Every influential figure in the capital was present. After all, this was the grand announcement of the merger between two business empires. But the moment the host invited Thừa Trec to place the engagement ring on my finger, he simply held the ring, frozen. He looked at me, guilt clouding his eyes, as if begging for my understanding. I'm sorry. For the company's future, and for Diem. Let's postpone the engagement. He thought I would yield for the greater good. I had always been his most reliable partner in the business world, after all. Below the stage, in the corner, Diem's eyes gleamed with triumph. Whispers rippled through the guests. Every gaze converged on me, waiting to watch the heiress of the Tan family make a fool of herself. I took the ring from Thừa Trac's hand, tossed it lightly upward, and smiled. Taking the mic, my voice wasn't loud, but it echoed across the hall. President Ko is right. There are certain issues between us. So this engagement requires serious reconsideration. Thừa Trec let out a breath, thinking I had given in. My smile turned colder. Therefore, from this moment on, I officially annul my engagement with Mr. Thừa Trec. The hall erupted in gasps. Then I turned toward my father. On behalf of the Tan family, I hereby announce the immediate withdrawal of all investments from Ko Group and the permanent termination of their right to use the Thien Kung chip patent. Thừa Trac's face went deathly pale. He stared at me, stunned. Are you insane? I ignored him. Lifting my gown, I walked off the stage, heading straight toward the only man in the hall powerful enough to counter Thừa Trec. Lệ Tư Niên, his archenemy in the business world. Facing him, I raised my champagne glass. President La, I said with a calm smile. You're an opportunist. And I happen to hold the world's most exclusive technology. Interested in discussing a deal that could double your company's value? The chandeliers glittered overhead, the scent of champagne and luxury perfumes thick in the air. Yet the entire hall fell into a dead, motionless silence. Everyone froze. Thừa Trac's complexion shifted from pale to ashen to furious red. He lunged toward me, trying to grab my arm. Tan Kai Y. Do you even know what you're saying? His voice cracked with anger. I stepped aside, not letting even the hem of my gown touch him. I looked at him, No anger. No sadness. Only cold mockery. I know exactly what I'm saying. President Co. I deliberately emphasized the title. You, on the other hand, seem unaware of what you've just lost. Lệ Tư Niên stood before me, the corner of his lips lifting with interest. He didn't answer my question. He was too busy watching the drama unfold. Eyes sharp and predatory like a hawk. Miss Tan, he said, voice low. Are you certain? I never make a move unless I'm sure. I lifted my glass in a distant toast. President La, care to gamble? Why wouldn't I? Lệ Tư Niên replied smoothly, completely ignoring the furious man beside us. Thừa Trạch was losing control. He pointed at me, then at Lệ Tư Niên. Voice hoarse. Tan Kai why? Just to get back at me. You're joining forces with this despicable man? What about our years together? What do they mean to you? Years together? I almost laughed. Our relationship? It was 30 billion in Tan family investment. It was countless nights I spent designing the theme come chip. It was every brick laid in your empire. And now, for the so-called pure love. From a secretary who barely knows you. You're willing to destroy all of it. How pathetic. In the corner. Tu Diem's triumph shattered into panic. She clearly never expected me to flip the entire table. She rushed over, grabbing Thừa Trac's sleeve. Tears spilling instantly. Thừa Trạch, it's all my fault. Tan, please don't blame him. He's just too kind, he didn't want to hurt anyone. Her acting truly deserved an award. I stared at her, cold. To avoid hurting anyone, he chose the engagement party. In front of the entire capital's upper class. To humiliate me in the worst possible way? Miss Tu, keep your little love and sacrifice drama for yourself. Don't dirty my eyes with it. Without giving either of them another glance, I gestured toward Lệ Tư Niên. President La. It's too noisy here. Shall we talk somewhere else? Lệ Tư Niên nodded. He removed his suit jacket and draped it gently over my shoulders, shielding me from every malicious gaze. My pleasure, President Tan. He didn't call me Miss Tan. He called me President Tan. I hooked my arm through his. And, under hundreds of stunned, shocked, and secretly delighted gazes, lifted my chin and walked out of the hall. Behind me came Thừa Trac's furious, broken shouts and the piercing crash of shattering glass. A pathetic performance, finally over. But the real battle in the business world was only just beginning. Lệ Tư Nien's car was parked at the hotel entrance. A black Rolls-Royce Phantom, luxurious yet understated, perfectly matching the man himself, controlled, enigmatic, impossible to read. Inside, he handed me a cup of warm water. Feeling any better? I took it and shook my head. There's nothing to feel better about. All I did was cut off a failing investment. Knowing when to exit is literally my job. My composure seemed to catch him off guard. His eyes lingered, sharp, discerning. I always thought you loved him, he said. I love a partner with business sense and respect for contracts, I replied, taking a slow sip. Thừa Trạch had neither. He's foolish, arrogant, and thinks he's clever. A partner like that is only good as decoration, maybe for Lunar New Year. A low, genuine laugh escaped Lệ Tư Niên. Tan Kai why, you're far more interesting than I expected. Good, I said, setting the cup aside. My mindset shifting back to the blade-sharp focus of a strategist. Let's continue. About the deal that will double your company's valuation. The theme come chip, I went on. You know exactly what it's worth. He nodded. The heart of Co-Group, and the future of the entire industry. Correct, but the patents have always been under my name. Co-Group only held a usage license. And that license is now terminated. Not only that. I hold every technical document for Thien Kung 2.0. Its performance triples anything currently on the market. Lệ Tư Nien's pupils tightened. He leaned in slightly, the air around him shifting, predatory, consuming. And your conditions? A new company. You invest, I bring the tech. I hold 51%, absolute control. Within 3 months, we launch the new product and wipe out Co-Group's market share. I paused only to breathe. I want Co-Group bankrupt. His gaze locked on mine for a full 10 seconds. And then he smiled. Deal. He extended his hand. I put mine in his, cold, steady, powerful. The handshake of two predators. We signed the cooperation agreement that very night. By dawn, the entire financial sector of the capital was in chaos. Tan Corporation announced a full withdrawal from Co-Group. The heiress of the Tan family, Tan Kai-wai, officially annulled her engagement to CEO Thừa Trạch and terminated Co-Group's right to use the Thien Kung chip patents. Rumors spread that I had joined forces with Co-Group's sworn rival, Lệ Tư Niên, to establish a new company. 3 nuclear-grade bombshells dropped at once. Co-Group's stock price collapsed. The moment the market opened, it hit the limit down floor. Shareholders were in tears. Phones at the company rang non-stop. Partners demanded explanations. Banks issued debt collection notices. An empire that once looked indestructible had its foundations ripped out overnight. Collapse was inevitable. Thừa Trạch was in complete disarray. He called me endlessly. Sent message after message. First furious accusations. Then frantic explanations. And finally, desperate begging. I didn't pick up. I didn't reply. Not once. Only then did he realize I had never been bluffing. And so he turned to theatrics. He brought Diem to an exclusive interview with a major financial network. Under the bright studio lights, Thừa Trạch appeared with dark circles under his eyes. The perfectly curated image of a man devastated by love, willing to face the world for his true feelings. Between me and Kai-wai, he said solemnly, there hasn't been love for a long time, only business obligations. It was Diem who showed me what real love is. Love is priceless. It shouldn't be tainted by money. I admit I wronged Kai-wai. But I can't lie to my heart. I hope she calms down and stops letting personal emotions jeopardize the future of 2 corporations and the livelihoods of tens of thousands of employees. Righteous, self-sacrificing, morally elevated. He played the victim to perfection. Beside him, Diem delivered a masterclass in pitiful White Lotus acting. Barefaced, wearing a faded cotton dress, crying so hard her tears and snot blended together. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have fallen in love with Thừa Trạch. Miss Tan, please, if you need to blame someone, blame me. Don't hurt him. Co-Group is his life's work. If you destroy the company, I'll leave Thừa Trạch. I'll disappear if that's what you want. All while clinging to his arm like she'd drown without it. A tragic love story. A star-crossed couple fighting the world. Perfect fuel for public sympathy. And the internet, easily manipulated, always eager to pick sides, fell for it immediately. Oh, so it was a business marriage? No wonder Miss Tan is being so unreasonable. Poor lovers, they're just trying to be together. People began sympathizing with Thừa Trạch and Diem, saying things like, poor CEO Co and Diem, what's wrong with falling in love? That Tan Kai-wai is so cruel, turning love into hatred just to destroy a listed company? And of course, Diem seized the moment to start a live stream. She cried on camera, talking about how sincerely she loved Thừa Trạch, how she suffered under the oppression of a capitalist heiress like me. Donations and messages of sympathy flooded in like a tidal wave. Within hours, She became the internet's pure-hearted love warrior, fighting against the big, bad capitalist. Seeing public opinion shift, Thừa Trạch finally sighed in relief. He really thought he could force me to yield with moral pressure and internet outrage. Naive. In the face of real power, capital and capability, public opinion is nothing but a joke. I sat in the CEO office of the new company, watching Diem's tear-streaked face on screen, and a cold smile curved at my lips. I said only one sentence to the legal team beside me. It's our turn. My counterattack was swift and surgical. First, my lawyers released a document to the media. The gambling agreement between me and Co-Group. It stated clearly that the Tan family's investment would only be injected if Co-Group successfully went public this year. If it failed, Thừa Trạch would have to use all his personal assets to buy back the Tan family's shares. In other words, if the company didn't go public, he'd lose everything. The moment the document was exposed, the internet detonated. Holy shit, so it wasn't a normal investment but a bet? So Tan Kai Wai pulling her funds is completely legal business conduct? What does this have to do with romance? He signed it himself, now he dares play the victim? Shameless. The devoted lover persona of Thừa Trạch cracked for the very first time. And that was just the appetizer. Next, an anonymous account posted a video online. It was filmed in one of Europe's most luxurious boutiques. In the footage, Diem beamed like a flower, trying on jewelry and designer bags. She told the sales associate, "This one, and that one too, wrap them all up for me." Then she pulled out a card from her purse. A supplementary card belonging to Thừa Trạch. The receipt attached at the end was several pages long. $1 million watches, $100,000 handbags, limited edition evening gowns. In less than half a month, she had spent over 10 million. The video was short, but devastating. The pure love warrior. Love shouldn't be tainted by capitalism. But apparently she can swipe a billionaire's secondary credit card to death. The video exploded across the entire internet. Viewers who just hours ago cheered for her livestream fell silent in an instant. This is the same woman wearing a faded dress, claiming she doesn't care about money? My God, she cries about true love while using her lover's fiancé's money to buy luxury goods? That slap was loud. She earned herself the title, Green Tea Goddess of the Year, on the spot. So her pure love was really just pure love for money. Diem's livestream room was instantly swarmed with angry comments. Her face turned white as chalk and she hurriedly shut it off. Her image as the pure-hearted heroine collapsed overnight, becoming the internet's favorite joke. Thừa Trạch tried to salvage the situation, claiming everything she bought was for work. But no one believed him anymore. The shareholders' fury and the internet's mockery drowned them both. Co-Group's stock continued its freefall. 3 consecutive limit-down sessions. Internal chaos erupted. Resignation letters piled on Thừa Trac's desk like snow. He attempted to calm the employees, holding an emergency meeting. But midway through, news arrived that completely shattered him. The company I built with Lệ Tư Niên, Tech, was officially announced. We held a grand press conference. Under the spotlight, I stood composed and confident. Tech will focus on the research and application of next-generation AI chips. Our goal is to lead the next technological era. Beside me stood a man. Dr. Lee, the former head of Co-Group's technical department and the core leader behind the Tech chip. And behind him, more than 10 other core engineers. All from Co-Group's tech division. Yes, I had poached the entire backbone of Co-Group's technical team. Triple their salaries. 5% preferential equity. With conditions that generous, plus Co-Group's imminent collapse. Who would stay? When Thừa Trạch saw the live broadcast in the conference room, he immediately smashed his phone to the floor. His face turned corpse white, His eyes bulged with rage. He knew. This was the lethal blow. Losing investment? He could find more. Losing market share? He could claw some back. But losing his core technical team? Co Group was now nothing more than an empty shell. An empty shell with no future. He practically lost his mind as he bolted out of the company, driving straight to the headquarters of Thừa Trạch. He demanded to see me, but he couldn't even get past the front door. "Sorry, sir," the security guard said politely, blocking him. "Without an appointment, we can't let you in." "I'm Thừa Trạch. Tell Tan Kai Wai to come down and see me," he roared. Hysterical. The guard stared at him the way one might look at an escaped mental patient. The scene was caught on camera by a passing reporter and quickly spread across every major platform. The once dignified CEO of Co Group now looked like a stray dog, raging and unhinged beneath another company's building. A bitter, humiliating irony. Upstairs, in the top floor office, I watched the pitiful figure on the surveillance monitor. Lệ Tư Niên stood beside me and handed me a cup of coffee. "Want to go down and see him?" he asked. I shook my head. "Not necessary." I picked up the internal phone and instructed reception. "Have Director Le go down to meet Mr. Ko, and deliver my message." Lệ Tư Niên raised a brow, clearly intrigued. He took the elevator down and walked up to Thừa Trạch. The moment Thừa Trạch saw him, his eyes reddened with hatred, as if he wanted to tear him apart. "Lệ Tư Niên, you opportunistic rat, tell Kai Wai to come see me." Lệ Tư Niên looked down at him, lips curling in a mocking smile. In a calm, deliberate tone, he said, "I'll repeat her exact words for you. Mr. Ko. President Tan is in a meeting. She said she has nothing to discuss with a failed investment." "Failed investment?" Thừa Trạch repeated the words as if they had drained the last of his strength. He stumbled back several steps, utterly shattered. That sentence hurt him more than any insult. It erased his worth completely. A label of failure, branded onto him in the very field he once prided himself on. In business, that was the ultimate humiliation. His misery didn't move me. Tears hold no value in the marketplace. The fall of Co Group. With ruthless efficiency, Lệ Tư Niên and I accelerated our operations. Barely a month after its founding, Thừa Trạch held a major product launch. I personally stepped on stage to present our new AI chip based on the Thừa 2.0 technology. Khoi Min. Its performance far surpassed Thừa 1.0, the pillar product Co Group depended on. 3 times the processing speed. 50% less power consumption. Right there at the press conference, we secured dozens of cooperation contracts with leading tech companies. The very same clients who had once been Co Group's largest accounts. Now, they chose us without hesitation. The market had made its decision in the cruelest way possible. On Khoi Min's official release day, Co Group's stock price plummeted below its IPO value. Debt collection calls from banks crippled the finance department. Partners rushed in to cancel contracts and demand compensation. Suppliers halted all deliveries and even gathered at Co Group's entrance, demanding payment. When a tree falls, the monkeys scatter. The once glorious business empire was collapsing in plain sight. Thừa Trạch tried everything. He went to my father, but was rejected outright. The Tan family publicly stated that all decisions were mine alone. He then attempted to hack the technical documents for Khoi Min, only to be caught by our security system, narrowly avoiding a lawsuit. He was like a wild beast trapped in an iron cage, thrashing desperately and only injuring himself further. The final blow. Then came the last straw. Co Group's largest creditor announced liquidation procedures. It meant only one thing. Co Group was officially bankrupt. When the news broke, Thừa Trac's father, the chairman, suffered a cerebral hemorrhage from shock and was rushed into the ICU. Thừa Trạch stayed outside the emergency room, and by the next morning, His hair had turned completely white. He finally tasted the bitterness of betrayal, abandonment, and utter ruin. And what about Diem? The woman who swore she loved him? The day after the bankruptcy announcement, she vanished. Gone without a trace. When Thừa Trạch returned from the hospital to the apartment they once shared, he walked into chaos. Every valuable item had disappeared, and the remaining money in his personal account had been transferred out by Diem. On the table lay only a letter, its delicate handwriting laced with poison in every word. Thừa Trạch, please forgive me for leaving without saying goodbye. I love you, truly. But I cannot suffer with you. I grew up poor. I want luxury. I want to stand at the top of the pyramid. You used to be able to give me that. But not anymore. I thought you could defeat Tan Kai Y. But I was wrong. If you couldn't even hold on to a woman like her, how could you possibly give me a future? Forget me. We are not from the same world. I wish you peace. Someone who once loved you. To Diem. In the end, he finally understood. To Diem's so-called pure, passionate love had always been nothing more than a meticulously calculated investment. She invested in his status, in his money, in the future he could give her. And when he went bankrupt, she withdrew her capital without a moment of hesitation, pulled out of the market and went searching for her next target. Ridiculous, isn't it? For a woman like her, he threw me away. He threw an entire empire away. For what? For meaningless pride. For that hollow desire to conquer. A mouthful of blood spilled from Thừa Trac's lips. He collapsed under the cold rain, unable to hold himself up any longer, screaming like a wounded beast. He had truly gone mad, mad with regret. 3 months later, the engagement ceremony between me and Lệ Tư Niên was held at the most luxurious 7-star hotel in the capital. The media praised it as the wedding of the century. Guests arrived from every corner of the world, leaders in politics, finance, rising tech moguls, giants in every field. Under the joint leadership of me and Lệ Tư Niên, Thien Cuc Coaqui had risen to become the global leader in the chip industry, surpassing $1 trillion in market valuation. It was a miracle never before seen in commercial history. And between me and Lệ Tư Niên, what began as cooperation gradually deepened into something far more profound. He understood my ambitions, admired my capabilities, respected every one of my decisions. We were partners. We were confidants. We were soulmates. The union of two powerful individuals was, indeed, the most stable bond in this world. Inside the grand hall, I wore a couture gown the color of midnight sky, my hand resting on Lệ Tư Nien's arm as we received blessings from all around. He looked at me, his gaze gentle and warm. Kai Y, you look breathtaking today. I smiled lightly. Lệ Tông has never been wrong about anything he sees. Just as the MC prepared to announce the exchange of engagement rings, the grand doors were suddenly thrown open from the outside. A disheveled man, reeking of alcohol, staggered inside like a madman. It was Thừa Trạch. He was so thin he was almost unrecognizable. His eyes were murky, his beard unkempt. He looked no different from a beggar off the street. The guests froze. Security immediately rushed forward, but he fought with every ounce of strength he had left, breaking free and stumbling straight toward me. Thud. He fell to his knees, right at my feet. He lifted his face, tears streaming uncontrollably. Kai Y, I was wrong. I was really, truly wrong. Please, come back to me. Let's start over. To Diem, she was just a moment of madness. The woman I loved from the beginning to the end, it was always you. Only you. He sobbed as he tried to grab the hem of my dress. Lệ Tư Niên stepped forward instantly, shielding me behind him. His eyes were icy cold as he tossed Thừa Trạch aside. Security grabbed him by both arms, but he kept thrashing wildly. Kai Y, give me another chance. So what if Coty is gone? We can build something bigger, greater than Thien Cuc. As long as you come back, there's nothing I can't do. His voice echoed across the magnificent hall, pitiful, hysterical, absurd. Every guest watched him the way one watches a madman. I hadn't even frowned once. I didn't bother to look at him. Instead, I gently held onto Latu Nine's arm and, with a touch of polite confusion, tilted my head. 2-9, do we know this gentleman? My voice wasn't loud, but it cut straight through Thuatrak's heart like a razor-sharp blade. His struggling stopped instantly. He looked at me, disbelief filling his eyes, pure despair. To be forgotten was crueler than being hated. I didn't even hate him. I turned to the nearest guard and spoke softly. Could you please escort the disruptive guest out? He's affecting the atmosphere of the event. Yes, Miss Tan. Thuatrak was dragged out of the hall like a dead dog. The last thing he saw before the doors closed was me accepting a brilliant diamond ring from Latu 9. Slipping it onto my finger as the hall erupted into thunderous applause. Thrown out of the hotel, Thuatrak wandered the streets like a soulless corpse. His world had completely collapsed. Do we know this gentleman? Those words of mine were the final knife that pierced his heart clean through. He had lost until there was nothing left. His reputation in ruins. He lost his company, his status, his fortune, and even the right to be hated by me. He wandered aimlessly until he stopped in front of a bar. On the TV screen hanging by the entrance, an entertainment segment was playing, and the woman at the center of that report was none other than Tadium. She was holding onto the arm of a balding tycoon, one even older than Thuatrak's own father, as they vacationed on a foreign beach. Laughing radiantly as if life had never been kinder. When a reporter asked for her thoughts on Thuatrak's bankruptcy, she faced the camera with a sweet smile. Ko Tien-sin? Oh, we haven't been in contact for a long time. People must always look forward. I'm very happy with my life now. After a string of blows, the last thread in Thuatrak's mind finally snapped. He went mad. He began wandering the streets, muttering nonsense. Sometimes he would point at passing strangers and curse them as traitors. Other times he would fall to his knees, crying and apologizing to no one. Kaiwai, I was wrong. Don't leave me. Dad, I'm sorry, the company will go public. It has to. He lived entirely inside his own delusions. No one paid attention to him anymore. He became truly insane, homeless, forgotten, without a place to return to. Winter came, and with it the first snow blanketed the capital white. I was in Switzerland with Latu 9, spending our winter holiday skiing. In a wooden cabin atop the mountain. The fireplace crackled warmly. I leaned into his chest, watching the snow whirl outside the window. The TV was tuned to an international news channel. A local report flashed by quickly. On the screen, the police were cordoning off an abandoned villa. The anchor's voice was steady, emotionless. Early this morning, police discovered the frozen body of a male outside a deserted suburban villa. The deceased has been identified as former CEO of the Corporation. Thuatrak. Investigations indicate the individual had been mentally unstable for days. The preliminary cause of death is hypothermia. That villa was the one Thuatrak and I once planned to buy as our marital home. How ironic. Latu 9 reached for the remote to change the channel. I placed my hand gently over his. No need. To me now, that story felt like hearing about a stranger. Latu 9 looked at me, a flicker of concern in his eyes. I smiled at him. It's all in the past. Yes, all of it had passed. The man named Thuatrak, along with that foolish, blind past of mine, was like the snow outside the window, soon to be buried by time without leaving a trace. I calmly switched the channel. A light-hearted romantic comedy began to play. I leaned back into Latu 9's warm arms, savoring our honeymoon holiday. Outside, the snow was still falling in white sheets. But my world had long cleared, bright as a cloudless sky. The following spring, when cherry blossoms bloomed across the capital, Thien Kuk Koa Ki officially went public. The listing ceremony was held grandly at the largest stock exchange, with the opening price surging 300% within the first hour. I stood on the stage beside Lệ 9, receiving thunderous applause from international investors. We had not only built a company, we had forged an unshakable empire, where our pioneering technology became the golden standard of the global eye industry. The commercial empire belonging to me had only just begun. And the legend of me and Lệ 9 was only beginning as well. The story ends here, but the night is far from over. Join us again, where new secrets and passions await.